It is 6:35. We'll call the meeting to order. And the first thing we'll do is, and it's funny, we gave you a half hour. I was just looking at that. I looked down at the calendar and I said, what was Ashley thinking? You're never more than 15 minutes.
I'll make it 15, make it 10 if you need it.
Okay. Jeremy would appreciate it. He's gonna be out of here at 8:15, he says. Okay, let's get started. We'll start right in with the hearing.
Yep. FY '27 DPW budget. We did just finalize a contract in September, 6 months ago. So some of this will be referencing contract obligations, some changes, and maybe going from one line item to another possibly. The salaries are all contracted through the union, minus myself, the foreman, executive assistant. That's to be determined. The overtime for highway, we bumped that up 15 in the request, but we've kind of come back to reality with more of a $5,000 to $7,000 increase. We're still working on that number. It's going to come down. The onset of this year, overtime was trending way up through September, October, November. That's kind of hit its level now, and we're coming back to reality.
What causes, other than snow, what causes overtime?
It was the paving and chip sealing, and a lot of their scheduled work was on Friday. We have Fridays off in the summer, so
Okay.
bringing guys in on Friday was on OT. So you'll see the $15,000 increase, but like I said, that's really half that or less in all reality. Road machinery maintenance, that's a $10,000 bump. That's basically every year we're going up 10 just to kind of stay with the times. If we don't do that, we're kind of going backwards. So the last 3 years we've gone up by 10. Let's see, expenses, same thing, going up 10. The building is starting to show some deficiencies. I shouldn't say deficiencies, but there's some maintenance in the heating system. It's 12 years old now. We're starting to get into some.
So how old is that building?
Yeah, we're starting to get into those, heating exchanges, getting repaired or replaced. Our wash bay, we've had a few issues with that where we've had to dump money into to get that running. That's
Did you have to replace the pump in that a
yeah.
couple years ago?
There's a whole pump room to it. It's a pretty complicated system, and we did a total rehab of it maybe 5 years ago, and that was like the brain, if you will, and the motor, and there's several other parts because it's a recycling system. We reuse the water, and we have to get it pumped out every so often. It does soap too. It mixes it all up, so it's starting to replace valves, mixer valves, shut-offs, stuff like that. Kind of small stuff, but it's adding up little by little. So I think an extra 10 in the expense would help cover those costs.
Do you anticipate that will just be a one-time thing, that this will just be a $10,000 increase for this year, and then the following year it will go back down?
I think we could live at the 100,000 for a couple years, maybe 3, and then reassess at that. But I don't think going back to 90 is an option.
Because you think there'll be maintenance that is continuously
The
needed?
perpetual care with the building's only going to get older.
Okay.
I know it's 12 years, and I mean the lifespan on that's got to be 50 plus, but little things like roof repairs and stuff like that I'm kind of looking forward to.
Okay.
Let's see. The uniform allowance, that was changed through union negotiations. They the union members no longer have a $1,000 reimbursement, but they have the option to opt into a uniform company that provides uniforms to us for a fee, and the town foots the, I think it's 60/40 or something like that. The town pays, and then
Okay.
if they
So-
opt
so
in,
that
they
10 is our 60 part.
yeah,
Our
we pay the
60%
larger part,
and-
yeah.
and the employees pay the other 40.
So in order to cover that, if all employees opted into the uniform,
Yep.
it's roughly $7,000.
Yep.
And you'll see a note maybe on your copy that taking the difference and putting that into the tree removal account. So instead of giving it back, we're moving it to another line if possible. The dam repair maintenance unit, that's got a small increase of 500. That's for our weed whackers and string and gas, because we are the caretakers of the Glen Echo Dam, the South Cheltenham Dam, and Little Nugget. So that basically just gives us enough equipment for the year and supplies.
Caretakers, not maintenance. You don't go in and fix dams. Or,
No, we keep
gates or things like that.
the grass down, the brush down, kind of make it accessible for these larger repairs.
Gotcha.
We've had to go out,
Yeah.
outsource for that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Field maintenance, that actually just went out to bid, and that was awarded this week. We have it at 60 with a unknown, actually came in at 70. So I think we have 75 there. 70 would be the cost of the contract. 5 would go for miscellaneous improvements to a ball field project or skate park repair, basketball hoop, anything back here, recreation type fields and stuff like that.
Okay.
The stormwater management, that's staying exactly the same. And like I said, the tree removal unit, I'd like to carry that 7 from clothing allowance and bring it over there. And road repair paving, that is also staying put.
So on road repair pavings, you've got a number. Do you always start the year with, okay, we're gonna do this road, this road, this road, and this road?
We're going that way. In the past, we've kind of done a springtime evaluation, kind of see what winter did to roads and evaluate at that point. We go in having a good idea of, the top 10% of town that are candidates, and we really hone in on it. March, April, kind of see what, climbs to the top. But
Most of that money's gonna go toward asphalt, I'm assuming, or some kind of chip base or whatever.
So this line goes towards our patching repairs,
Yeah.
any repairs we do to the road, any strip paving we do in-house. We buy all our gravel and stone with this money as well. Any repairs to catch basins, anytime we're cutting into the road and have to repave,
Yeah.
that's where we're grabbing it.
I was just, the only reason I ask is, we all know what oil is doing, and that's.
Yeah.
Asphalt is oil. I mean, basically, it's just oil with stones in it.
Right. This is almost like a supplemental account for our asphalt, because we get the Chapter 90 money, and that's what we utilize to pave a road or chip seal a road. Anytime we're reclaiming or milling and filling, that's gonna go through Chapter 90.
Okay. That's all operating. So what I'm.
Snow and ice, that stays the same, so.
Yeah. What I'm curious about, as I noticed, on the fire department's budget, there was no money in there for cisterns. We had talked about that last year, that we were gonna repair cisterns, and I thought we had talked about moving it over to highway. but I don't see cisterns in here. And I saw that in the fire department, it was 0. You actually cut it. Is there any money in here for cistern repair or maintenance?
Not specifically to cisterns. We've worked with Rob over this last year, and he did identify, there was only a couple that we had to repair or dismantle.
Mhm.
I'm not sure how far along he is in that endeavor, how far he's dove into the cistern, you know, what he's looked into for those and what actually needs it.
Yeah, because I know it's a fire department priority to have water, okay? But I thought we had talked about, but it's a DPW to maintain that water at some point, so I didn't know whose responsibility is this going to become, Andrews? Is it going to be more here at overtime?
I think that the budget, because the DPW would be conducting the work, that it would be probably within
Right.
the DPW's budget, but it's a coordinated effort between fire and DPW
Yeah.
and identifying what needs to be done.
Maybe a takeaway, Nick, to sync up with Rob and make sure
Yeah.
we're.
We did actually after last year's finance, and I think we basically left it as he'll do a inventory and get back to me with necessary fixes.
I just don't want to see it fall between the cracks, because I thought you had it, no, I thought you had it.
Yep.
That's all.
Oh, understandable.
All right.
To the snow and ice, are we overspent this year because the weather's been so wonderful to us?
We have gone over. I think it was back in late January. I declared a deficit spending for that account.
Yep.
Right now, I think we're at 520,000 spent total,
Okay.
which is about 120,000 over last year's at this so far. We'll see. Hopefully, we're not purchasing salt or any major snow
should be
events
over
in the
the
future.
100.
I would think so. I would hope so.
Thought I heard tomorrow there might be some more.
Yeah, but I don't think we're looking at 18 inches of snow
Okay.
coming anytime soon.
But if you remember, it's the one account in the whole
I know
town,
that they can, yep.
Right.
I knew that, but I still
And
wanted to
you
understand
can't
where we're at.
reduce that number.
Yeah, I remembered that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Are we gonna talk through this, Hank, at all?
What's that?
The 5-year plan?
Yeah, that's, yep,
Capital, yeah.
that's on capital. You want to just go over your capital? Although that's not really going to come up on this particular meeting. That'll be October.
Yeah, but this
Maybe
is just
capital.
the full, like,
Yes.
picture, right?
Right.
Yep.
That way we know what's coming.
All right, so the need for a roadside mower is coming up. One of them that is in service is a 2006. I would expect to get some years left from it, but we've actually come into the need for more than 2 at some points of the year.
The roadside mower is the arm that goes over and cuts everything on the side
Yep,
of the road, right?
all that roadside brush that kind of
Right.
encompasses the road and would
I'm
knock
going to
it
assume
back.
the 240 is for the entire tractor and the mower that
That's
attaches
correct.
to it. Okay.
Yep.
And you have 2 now, but one's from,
One's from 2006, the other one's, I think, from 2008.
okay.
So I don't think, if we bought one tomorrow, we're not throwing it away. I think we'd try to run 3 for a little while until that 2006 was at end of life. Because there is a need for an additional one. And, when it's mowing season, you just can't have enough out there. We just playing catch up the whole time with 2. So I think we'd better serve town with 3 as long as we could.
Mhm.
And then a utility pickup, that's a replacement of a 2012. It's actually something we got secondhand from the sewer department. So we've put it, I think we've had it for about 10 years. They only had it for a few. So it's something that we've really liked going with the utility style body. It comes in handy. And we'd like to renew that with a newer one in the future,
Mhm.
near future.
Okay. And then down the road, you've got the new Freightliner,
So-
is that a plow or a dump?
Yeah, that Freightliner, that's gonna kind of be the every other year after, we have 2 on order now.
Mhm.
But I'm thinking if we can go every other year with a truck purchase of that magnitude, that's a dump truck style that we're able to utilize as a snowplow sander as well.
Mhm.
The last few times we've purchased these Freightliners, we've gone strictly snowplow units, which means it's
Mhm.
cabin chassis with a sander and a plow setup,
Mhm.
no dump body or hydraulic setup for it. But I think we're gonna have to mix in a total package here soon, I'm thinking in the 2028 year. Make it a combo dump truck and salt sander.
Mhm.
We do have 5 trucks that we turn over to dump trucks, from sanders to dump trucks in the summer. But those are aging out too, so we gotta just kinda mix in some newer models to sustain.
So Andrew, are these the kinds of numbers that we should be looking at when we're talking about how much to put in the capital stabilization account?
Right, so, you know, the capital stabilization account is, you know, we're kind of trying to build that up for a time when maybe our free cash is not as healthy as we would like it to be maintained at. So that way we can kind of maintain our capital plan over time. You know, thankfully, the last few years, it's been at a healthy number that we've been able to fund things directly from free cash while maintaining the right
Mhm.
balance. But at some point, if that number were to go down, we have that capital stabilization offset, or
Mhm.
to potentially use that money to offset a much larger project to offset tax liability.
Right, I've always looked at the general stabilization as to offset tax liability should we need it, operating or whatever. And you started this capital stabilization, so we can start taking care of these kinds of, so this is the kind of numbers that we'd use to say, all right, let's put X into this and Y into that, okay. All right.
Yeah, and it's just the
It's
nature
just
of
that, you
the
know,
beast, the
when
numbers
you
are
come
high,
and
these
the
pieces
fire
of equipment are
department
very
comes,
expensive.
all your numbers are big.
Right.
All your numbers are like 200,000, 300,000 for a truck,
Right.
you know. I know it didn't used to be that way, but
No, certainly.
it is the way it is today.
Yes, the 2 we just ordered last October, I believe we were allocated 460,000, and it was right on the number, $230,000 a truck.
Was it? You say you've got 2 on order
Yes,
right now?
yep,
What's the first one? When did you order that one? A year ago?
at the same time,
At the same time?
yep.
Okay.
This went through last October meeting, the 2 of them.
Okay.
And actually, I was looking for an update from the outfitter, and the truck's there in Oxford, where they put it together, and they're still waiting for the sander, the plow, and the computer, so
Yeah.
we still got some time. Once that all arrives, it's a 6 to 8 month wait. So if that shows up anytime soon, we're actually could be a little bit ahead of schedule, but I'll keep my fingers crossed.
Right, but they're both plow trucks?
Correct.
All right, so as long as we get them by next October,
That'd be great.
that'd be good.
Get them by Thanksgiving, I'd be really happy.
Okay. Any other questions of Nick? On either operating or capital? At home, Brian, Christian, anything?
I'm all good, thank you.
All set, Brian?
Yeah, Ray's probably on the iPhone.
Oh, I thought Ray was the iPhone 3. Ray, is that you on iPhone 3?
Brian says he's all set in the chat.
I'm all set.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's Ray. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Ray.
All right, good. Let me mute it.
All right, any okay. I guess he doesn't have any questions. All right, Nick, I think we're good.
Okay.
Unless you got something for us or another request that you haven't written down yet.
No, I think I'll
No,
leave it
I
at
think
that.
you're good.
Thank you.
Thank you,
you.
Nick.
Thanks, Nick.
All right, next on the agenda, we have Council on Aging. You're up, Michelle.
Well, after that big budget, I'll be like nothing, right? I have for you a couple more packets. I gave you my newsletter and a little bit of narrative because, you know, I'm kind of like an art book major. I'm very verbose, so I just figure I'll put it to you in writing rather than taking all your time.
I can pass it.
Perhaps, thank you.
Sure.
I think one day I'm doing this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I figured you might want some bedtime reading.
Yes.
I can leave other
So,
copies for the members watching from home.
I'm reading that first paragraph, and I remember we talked about switching the food from, to Tri-State. Now, I can see that it's
Yes.
working out good on the money side, but is the food as good?
The food is, well, it's certainly not, you know, catering from Overlook, and it's certainly not home cooking in our kitchen, which is what this, you know, a lot, this, if they all had their druthers, we would be, you know, cooking in the kitchen, but we just, the town, we just don't have the money for that, and the seniors don't have the money for it themselves either, so Tri-Valley is a wonderful, happy medium where it's a nutritious meal, it's hot, and it is actually, really, it's improved quite a bit in the past year. They've got a new director, the Tri-Valley Elder Nutrition Program, and I think that she has sought out a better quality program for
Good.
a more, even more visually appealing.
Yep.
So, I mean, we all know we eat with our eyes first, you
Mhm.
know. So, yeah, so it's, I think there's been a little bit of a downturn for a little bit of attendance for the folks that were like all about eating the Overlook food. But I think folks that have begun giving the Tri-Valley more of a try are pleasantly surprised. So,
Mm.
you know, I think it'll be a process,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's funny, I've been working with Michelle on some surveys that she's been doing, and I noticed the most often answered questions is, what do you enjoy most about coming? Meeting my friends, having lunch.
That's right.
Those are the two things that were the most important to everybody.
And, you know, we all know, or maybe we don't, but those of us who socialize are actually, socialization is so much more important than just, hey, I want to hang out with my friends and catch up on, you know, the latest gossip. Those who socialize are actually, you know, statistics will prove that they are healthier and live longer and happier lives than those who do not. So it's very important to well-being.
All right, let's go through your budget there.
All right, it's really kind of nothing crazy, no, we didn't ask for anything large, and I think the only addition that we've asked for is the replacement of our smart TV downstairs, because it has a very large dark line down it, but so it's just myself, our outreach coordinator, who's full-time. We have a kitchen assistant position that is currently being filled right now, and the position that you were kind enough to give us, you increased our activities position last year to an activities / departmental assistant position. So that's been filled by Emily. She's doing a great job. Shawnee, our outreach coordinator, her office is a revolving door down there as well. So those are our staff positions. So it's myself, the outreach coordinator is full-time. The kitchen assistant is 19 hours, and the admin assistant / activities position is 24. It says 22 hours. She's actually 24 hours, so it's the only correction I'd like to make on there.
I'm sorry, I'm in the wrong room.
Okay.
Welcome, you
right.
can stay if you'd like.
I'm probably safer here than up there. What are you doing here? That's my granddaughter.
Oh, how awesome. Now he wants to come back.
Now back to your regularly scheduled programming, already in progress. Okay. So kitchen repairs, the last few years, the large commercial appliances we have all started to let us know that they're, you know, also a senior, some of them. So I've put in there a kind of a holding place of $2,000 because the last 3 years we've had to spend roughly about $2,000 on each of those appliances collectively. So, I just figured we might as well put it in there because it's not going to, that way it's not a surprise if, we do have it, something, I'm guessing, let's see, it's been the dishwasher, then one year it was the stove, and so I'm guessing this year, when, we'll play appliance roulette, it'll probably be the refrigerator, so. Then, desserts, party functions, there's some money there for our special events. Our New Year's Eve party is a big bash that we have over at the library. Thank you to the library for allowing us to share their beautiful space at Dexter Hall. The elder bus transportation, the problem with the elder bus transportation, it's a wonderful service. We are fortunate to have it. We just don't know whether or not they will continue to fund that grant for us until we're already halfway through our fiscal year. So that's the reason that we have elder bus transportation in there. The last couple years they have funded it, no problem, but I just don't know if it's gonna be there or not, and I won't know until we're already well into our budget cycle. So we've put that there as well, just in case, so that we can continue providing rides to seniors through the SEM Elder Bus, whether they go to the doctor or they come to the senior center or they need a ride to CVS or the grocery, what have you. Right now it's free. I just would like to continue making it free for
So,
them.
excuse me, and so that, if they do get, because I understand it's mid-cycle, this money just comes back at the end of the year, if they do in fact get the grant?
Right, so any unspent money within the operating budget ends up becoming free cash for the next fiscal.
Right.
Activities, we tried, we have a grant that we're fortunate to have. This money allows us to have a little bit more of a robust program for our seniors, as well as the supplies for that as well. Our newsletter mailing cost, that's the newsletter that you have before you as well. We put out 12 issues of that a year, and the production of that newsletter is funded by the advertisers that we have inside it, but we just have to pay for the postage. My hope is that we are, not we, but there's a group in town that's beginning a Friends of the Seniors, and they're putting forth their paperwork to get it all, 501c3, and the hope is that once that group is established, that they would hopefully, I can't speak for them, of course, but hopefully they would take on the cost of the newsletter mailing. That's one of our requests, that, once they do get up and established, they're still in their infancy currently. But it would be great to take that off the town's back, the newsletter mailing. As I already touched on, the replacement of the smart TV, it's down in the lunchroom, which is our main screen that we use for all of our presentations. It's got a very dark streak going down the center of it, and just with knowledge of how our TVs are not our TVs of yesteryear that lasted forever. Now they're just very short-lived. It appears that TV is on its last legs, so we would really like to get that TV replaced. And then the cost there for the database, every senior that enters the senior center would be kind enough to swipe their card in once we get them enrolled in our database system, so that when they come in, they can say, hey, I'm Mary, I'm here for, and it's a touch screen, so it's easier to use. I'm here for socializing, I'm here for lunch, I'm here for bingo and yoga, and it just populates into our database system. Not everyone does that, but it's the best tracker that we currently have. And we try to also take attendance for most programs, so that if Mary forgot to sign in, that we can catch her on the other side. It would be great if we had a system that automatically populated for our phone calls, but we don't have that quite in place yet. Dare to dream someday. But that's pretty much our budget in full. Our budget is basically covered by one of Nick's trucks.
I just want to say that I appreciate in the parentheses that you give us some context of how many activities your funding would actually provide. I think that really makes it easy to see the way that the citizens are served, so thank you.
Of course. Appreciate that. And then, like I said, if you want more detail, I am more than happy to provide. It's very lengthy, yeah. I also just want to say, while I have an opportunity, I want to say thank you to the folks in town that voted for the senior center to have the donations for the townwide yard sale. I'm very excited about that we were selected to be the recipient of the donations for the townwide yard sale. I'm very grateful for that.
The TV really shouldn't be in the operating side, maybe, although it's $700. Huh?
That's something that we'll talk about with IT.
Okay.
Something we have to-
'Cause I was thinking there's a different way we can handle that $700. All right, any questions of Michelle on the budget she presented? It's pretty straightforward.
Easy
We're
peasy.
good at that. And yes, the backup is good,
I just appreciate being able to see it.
yes.
Happy
Good.
to provide it.
Christian, Brian, Ray, any questions of Michelle?
All set, thank you, Michelle.
Of course.
All set, question for me. Thank you.
Thank you,
We're good.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Oh, we already missed the iPad. It's my second. I could use, that's when I could use.
Yeah.
Not that I have an iPad, but my wife doesn't. I don't know how to help her. I don't know how to fix it.
Yeah, call
Call your
Chris.
grandchildren.
That's what I, no, I
That's-
call Chris. No, my grandson's 5.
Well, I bet they probably still
Easy
do.
ones to do. All right, next we have cemetery.
Good evening, everybody. How are you?
Very good.
So we'll start with the cemetery, because that's usually a pretty easy five-line item budget, and I have my capital here as well. So on the budget side, we have our salary line items, my salary line item, full-time laborers salary line item, and we have a $15,000 expense line item and commissioners' stipends. The $15,000, we're just gonna level fund from last year's. That seems to be pretty sufficient thus far. So, yeah, that's pretty bare bones. I believe salaries will be adjusted according to the non-union personnel bylaw.
Yep.
Right. So, on the capital side, for FY 2027, we started a road repaving program in our cemeteries. Last year, I think we pulled out $35,000 allocated towards road repaving in Westridge. We're looking to start getting that.
We don't have a copy of that.
Oh, you don't? I sent you guys a copy of
No.
We can
it.
just listen.
Absolutely. Okay.
All right, but explain them verbally what,
Absolutely. So last year we allocated $35,000 for paving some of the expansion roads over at Westridge Cemetery. Those roads were originally paved in 1997, when they did the expansion project. So we're gonna re-overlay those. I did work with Nick Peel a couple of years ago. We got some tallies, some tonnage figures and so forth. So I did get a preliminary quote from a local paving company, and we kind of used that as like a benchmark of what we need to get done. So between what Nick and I had done and what we got from them, I'll talk with Andrew, we'll put it out to bid, hopefully this year, and try to get it done before Memorial Day holiday, or before the end of fiscal year. So in the subsequent years, for 2027, 2028, 2027, we're gonna look at Union Cemetery. That's a cemetery located on the corner of Route 169 and Route 20. Those roads were probably paved over 50 years ago. We've done work with the highway department in the
is that
past.
an active cemetery?
It is.
It
That
is.
It's not very active, but still, it is active.
There are some plots up
There
there
is,
that
yep.
can still be,
Very limited supply, but we do have plots available there. That cemetery was a private cemetery until 1964. All the trustees who operated the cemetery all passed away. Then they turned it over to the town via a special town meeting in December of 1963, I believe. So I don't believe those roads have probably been paved since then. We've done repair work up there, but we need to just do the whole thing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So 2,000 for fiscal fiscal year 2029, we have a 2012 John Deere utility loader tractor. We'd be looking to replace that. I have a cost estimate of $45,000. I think when we bought that tractor, it was like $16,000, but those days are long behind us. This would be a tractor to replace what we currently have. It has a heated cab, and I think now they're all integrated, so it'll probably have AC in the whole 9 yards. But at that point, that tractor will be up for replacement. 2030, we currently have a 2017 F-350 pickup truck with a V-plow. Again, we bought that truck for $36,000 to plow back in 2017. I presume by 2030, we'll be looking at $70,000. 2031, we'll be replacing just one of our ZTR mowers, 48-inch ZTR mower, $17,000. So I guess the total cost for the 5-year package, what we're looking at is about $178,000. So less than one of Nick's plow trucks.
Nick, you seem to be the benchmark for everybody.
That's why I like going after Nick, because it makes me look good.
Nick, don't worry, Bay Path is coming, and I think their budget's a little higher than yours, okay?
I'm a rose between two thorns.
So, pardon if I don't remember what we did, but you had been looking at a garage of some type for years, and we kept shuffling it from year to year. Where are we at with that?
Well, in my infinite wisdom, be it good or bad, I don't know. When the fire department moved station to new station number 2, we're looking at old station number 2 of maybe doing some rehab on that building. It has heat. I mean, it's gonna need some work, but that would probably bridge the gap for several years, hopefully to my retirement in 11 and a half years. So, at that point, maybe, who knows where we're gonna be, but you can maybe raise the building, maybe put up like a Butler-style metal building, and, have it meet all the DCAM coding and stuff for the state of Massachusetts, Commonwealth of Massachusetts code requirements. I think that would be probably the most economical thing right now, because it's right in the center of town. Logistically, it's close to,
everything.
our main cemeteries, and it'd be a good place to store equipment.
And that is our property.
It is our property,
is our
yeah.
property.
It's just about a question of how much work really needs to go to that building to kind of bring it up to a good state. I mean, you could just put some paint on it, but I think there's a little bit of a list, and the roof needs some work. So I think that we're working right now of trying to identify kind of like what's the major scope of work, and does that outweigh the cost of demoing the building and putting up something with metal frame.
Yep.
But something simple on that location, but as Jim said, the location works because it's more than just Westridge Cemetery that he's responsible for maintaining. It would at least give him a central location that he could deploy.
And I believe there's water and sewer that go by there anyhow.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, you're right, that would be. In fact, if we put up another building, if any other department needed some space, we could actually make it a multi-purpose.
You could. Army Corps of Engineers did one down Buffinville this past winter, and they're just about completing it now, but it's actually a really nice example of what I'd be looking at.
Okay.
I would propose.
All right, but as you said, that won't show up for another 11 and a half years, so we don't really have to worry about it.
Who knows? You never know. Sometimes things come up. The best laid plans.
Well, the other thing I can anticipate happening is once that building is empty, everybody's gonna look, so what are you gonna do with this building? All right? And
It
you're
would
the
be a
first-
nice thing to say, hey, we can reutilize this for whatever purpose, and keep it for a purpose within town use. So I think that would be, it'd be a win-win.
Yeah. And, yeah, we may not wanna put a $500,000 fire truck in that building, but a lawnmower and a,
Well, we have a mini excavator, we have a dump
Mini-
truck, 1
right.
ton, we have a pickup truck, we have several pieces of key equipment, that we can
Good.
easily use that space
Okay.
for.
Can I ask a question?
yep, go ahead.
So we talked in Nick's budget about the contract for field maintenance,
Yes.
but we're talking about mowers. Is there any way that the work for mowing that happens through the cemetery could happen under the contract that we already have signed through?
Nick and I and Andrew, I think, all talked about that. When we got the bids back this year, we were all wondering, what is this gonna be? And we got one bid that blew everybody out of the water. And if we got 3 bids in that price range, I think, yes, we would have to look at possibly doing this in-house. But with the current bid that just got submitted and accepted, we'd be hard pressed to do it for that price.
Okay,
Historically speaking, the cemetery's always taken care of its own properties. If you had to bring that out to bid, you'd probably start seeing some really inflated numbers if you did everything, cemeteries included. So I think that's why they always felt it in their best interest to keep the cemeteries kind of like an island of their own, because we've been doing it for so long,
okay,
you know, but again, if these numbers come back, like the numbers we got from that, one of those contractors, it would definitely be something that you'd have to take in consideration.
okay, thank you.
Jeremy?
No questions.
All right, Christian, Brian, Ray, anything from you?
Look good to me.
Cool.
Yeah, Ray, you snuck out for a beer, didn't you?
You've probably seen the low numbers, that, okay, I can have a cold one.
All right. Well, I think we're good.
Okay, facilities, oh boy.
Oh, you're gonna also, okay,
Yeah,
do facilities.
I'm gonna let
sorry.
Andrew take the lead on that one.
All right.
We'll kind of tag team it.
Okay. That's why I thought he sat at
Yeah,
that table,
yeah.
okay.
So primarily, what we're proposing right now is based off kind of our historical trend. I think over the last few years, we've gotten a lot better about kind of looking at that trend and what the impacts are. Obviously, the unknown repairs is kind of like that one that can be low some years and be high some years, but last year we did put a significant investment into that, and I know Jim and I have been talking with our house doctor contract about maybe doing a full building assessment of seeing like what's a full workup of everything that needs to be done in these buildings. And I think, pair that with kind of our discussion with the senior center too, of like, let's do that work first and then see, maybe look at this building. So that's something that we're looking at, but right now this budget before you is kind of based off our trend and what we've seen so far. So 6,000 for the sewerage, that's pretty much, the sewer connection, we basically are paying that in-house for the most part, down to the water and sewer department for our utility connection. Building repair and maintenance, so, our HVAC repair, elevator maintenance, security, boiler inspection, general maintenance, and then again, that unknown repairs that can be either high some years, lower some years, but the total amount for that is $45,100. In terms of the custodial services line, this seems to be kind of like a legacy line that we've been funding through the budget but haven't really applied a lot of funding to, so that money is kind of allocated elsewhere into the expense and equipment line. The expense and equipment line consists of kind of like our general costs for paper, pest control, print copy supplies, shredding documents, postage, maintenance, central office supplies, custodial supplies, and fire extinguishers. Total amount for that budget request is $49,400, a bit of an increase over last year's request for $47,000. Energy utilities, this is one that we've really kind of caught up with. Over the last few years, we've noticed at the end of the year that this had historically been underfunded. So I think we've gotten ourselves back to a spot where we're being a little bit more predictive of specific costs related to this. So there was a bit of an increase in that amount this year. It was $310. This year we had actually supplemented that when we went to special town meeting once the prior year ended. So the total amount that we ended up appropriating to FY26 was about $350,000. We're increasing that to $360, anticipating additional energy cost increases.
Where this says Fire Station 2, is Fire Station 2 the new fire station?
So yes, that is our so right now, until that building actually is online, we're not really going to kind of know what those monthly costs
Right.
are. I'm sure once it's kind of close to being ready to be commissioned, we'll probably get a report from the consultant that says, like, this is your estimated energy usage cost, and we may be able to refine that number specifically in October.
Why so high? You're 5,000 for Station 1 and 35 for Station 2? It just seems to be a,
So that is an all-electric,
Incongruity.
right, it's gonna be an all-electric building, and again, we don't really know what that cost is.
heating is electric too.
Correct.
Oh, okay, well.
Right.
Say no more.
Right, so under
Could end
the,
up winning on, I don't know, this year, like coming.
Unfortunately, this is the world we're living in now. You know, you can't put fossil fuels in these commercial buildings anymore. They're really leaning towards electric, so.
Yeah, so that's why you don't see a heating oil or propane cost for that building. It's, we're basically stacking it into electricity until we kind of know what that monthly cost is actually gonna be.
Okay.
And, you know, depending on kind of where we are year-to-date this year, I think we might just reevaluate these numbers and make sure we're still on track before we make a final budget recommendation. See, a lot of our,
Okay,
you know,
but-
heating oil prices are all on the
All
basis
right, but
of,
you've got heating oil fire station number 2.
so that's the current
That's the
state.
current station.
Oh, that's this
Yeah,
one?
yeah.
Okay, okay.
That's my new home.
There's a little bit of overlap with the term Station 2, just because,
There's gonna be 2 Station 2s.
yeah, within the budget year.
For a little while.
So let's call it 2 and 2A.
2A.
Okay, all right.
Why don't we just not call it 2? I'm serious, that was a real question.
Well, but Station 1 will be still down Charlton City.
But why wouldn't we call it the new station or Station 3 or something?
Because
Because then
I think they're gonna
Station 2
decommission
closes,
Station
Now
2.
you've got Station 1 and Station 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just only gonna be for maybe a year until we get.
Till the new signage goes up.
I have a question about why phone is under energy utilities.
That's what we've carried it over the last 3 years. It's just been its home for payment, so,
Telecommunications.
telecommunications.
Yeah.
I know, I don't know why it wouldn't be under expense. That's all.
That's for the in-house landlines, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, good catch. All right, those were my only questions that I popped up.
Certainly if we can move it, it's just been, it's, you know, paid cost center over the last, you know, few years, so it's just maintained within that budget.
And no capital budget associated with municipal?
Not right, not currently.
Yeah, not until you do a all-building survey.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We wanna hear back from.
get a good feel for
Yeah,
that.
because, you know, we've particularly identified with this building is, you know, to start with the roof. And, because I think we got a price quote for like about $1 million
Just for the roof.
just for the roof on this
That's
building.
just, that was like a preliminary quote, just
Yeah.
to kinda see what
This is
we're.
slate roof, isn't it?
It's a slate
It's a
asphalt.
medley of roofing. We
Yeah.
have slate, we have, EPDM roofing, and we also have asphalt shingles. The the rubber roofing's on the wings. One wing, the north wing was done in 2006. The south wing hasn't been, I've been here 26 years, so it's probably 30 years old at least.
Okay.
So it's on borrowed time. We had problems with it. I was able to get a contractor in here. We had it repaired for under $1,000. It seems to be holding up, knock on wood, but it's not gonna be forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that needs to be addressed, the roof. Start from the top, work your way down. Windows, they had phased them in over the last 20 years. I think they did the main floor probably back, I think they started like '04, '05. And they worked our way down to where my office is. I think they finished up in 2011. All the windows upstairs are all falling out. They're all the balances are broken. We can't get the parts, replacement parts for them. So my recommendation would be replace all the windows.
Yeah, and we did put some money aside
Yeah.
this last year to start that process.
To start it.
Yeah,
Okay.
and we're gonna
Not
have to go with a commercial quality window, not like a residential. These are like large residential windows. And they really should last longer than 20 years, but they're really not in the right application for what they're being used for.
Mhm.
So,
Okay.
definitely have to work on the building envelope. It's, we're a big burner of fuel here.
Do we have money set aside to do an all-building survey?
So we had put $150,000 into capital improvements for last year. And I think we just had gotten a quote to specifically look at this building, to do an assessment, and I think it was in the range of like $25,000. So I think.
For this building?
For just this building.
Right.
But again, it was dependent on what the scope that we asked them to do. I think there's probably some parts of the scope that could be pulled out. Cause I think when we were talking with them originally, it was beyond just like what the needs of the building are, but what does does the layout of this building itself actually make sense for our operations? And could we lay out the building in some way that made a lot more sense for the way we do business? Because we have a lot of space here, but it's very siloed, and there's a lot of space that's lost to hallways, and because we basically just converted a school into a municipal office building. So, you know, could we better organize some of our, our offices to be,
Better workflow.
better work, to improve workflow within the building? And
All while, being consistent with ADA regulations, because that's another thing that we have to take in consideration. When they built this building, that wasn't a
Right,
thing.
before they, right. I
Yeah.
remember that was the excuse, that was the reason for the elevator.
Right,
is because,
and that
yeah.
was a good faith gesture on our part, but we're still a long way from being totally compliant. We got a big, huge report last June, and it spells out all the different inadequacies this building has. And that's another thing that's gonna need to be addressed,
Yeah. Okay.
probably sooner than later. Because we put good faith in it every time we can, and I think that was the big impetus for the elevator project back in 2015.
Mhm.
But we still have a ways to go yet.
Yeah.
But we're pecking away at it, so we're doing our part, trying.
But even an all-building survey, it could take 3 months, 4 months to do.
Right,
By
and
the
I
time
think
one
that's-
company hit all of our buildings.
Right.
And I think that's what we're talking about, like, where's the biggest bang for a buck? Do we just focus on this building first? Or, I know that we have a number of ancillary buildings out there that we have to take into consideration, like, the Fort Dresser Hill property, the Fay Mountain Farm property, like all these smaller buildings that are out there that really have not got, that the town owns, that we haven't put a lot of attention into, and we're paying to heat or maintain in some way. What would the true cost be, and what's the scope of work look like to actually bring these buildings up to snuff?
Yeah.
I think the ADA gentlemen that came down, they've said number 4 Dresser Hill, they estimate that to be $1 million, just to bring it up to ADA
Bring it
compliance.
Up to ADA code?
ADA code. And they're very conservative with their figuring. I looked at that report, and I'm like, some of the stuff that, they figured a lot of it being done in-house. I'm like, if they can get prices done, if they can get things done for these prices, that's super, but, that's their figures, and I find those to be very conservative. So, could be $1.5 million.
Because I'm assuming they're looking at everything from like
Absolutely.
lever door handles to
100%.
ramps leading up to the front door.
Fortunately, I think when Nick had his building, when they did that back in 2012, that was already in place. So they kind of built that building with that in mind. So when they got their report, they looked good. But this building being built in 22, the wings being built in late 1940s, stairs everywhere. But, so it's, and number 4 Dresser Hill, that's just a converted farmhouse.
Right.
Fay Mountain Farm, forget about it. Like, I went over there last fall to look at it with a contract, and I wanted to just turn around. Like, I don't want to see it anymore. I just don't want to see it. Because, it was a great idea when they bought that back in 2002. They went in conjunction with Masonic Home Overlook, and it was good. But even back then, I had my, suspicions. And I was just cemetery superintendent back then. But now I seen it, I'm like, wow, it's, I didn't want to think about that. Like, just...
Could we knock it down and make it a cemetery?
Well, that would be a bad idea. And it actually abuts, the property actually abuts Northside Cemetery, because we have 10 acres over there, so who knows?
Drew, make sure you edit that part out. I don't want to hear about it, okay? All right. Any, Brian, Ray? I think we lost Christian. Any questions?
He did.
Okay. There being
No,
none?
no, sir.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Thank you for that uplifting report.
The cemetery don't look so bad now, right? A little budget.
Okay. Kyle, it's all yours. And I almost printed out this report at home, and then I said, nah, Andrew's gonna have it all printed out for us. You're gonna pick up just like Ashley would have done.
All set.
All right, so Kyle, we've all got a copy
yeah,
of this.
okay,
yes.
great.
So if you wanna go through that, that'd be great.
We will, we will. Thanks. Good evening, everybody. I'm Kyle Leonard, Superintendent of Bay Path Regional Vocational Technical High School, and I have our business manager, Cindy Schofield.
Hi, Cindy.
All right, so the first slide, we just have our core values. We worked hard on that, the admin team, to institute those for the entire school. We had all our stakeholders, admin, staff, and students look at that. So they're just own it. We own everything we do. And I want to introduce Don Monfeld, one of our school committee chairs from Charlton, and Mike T. Berry is the other. So we own everything we do. We take ownership. We find that when we own it, we always put our stamp of excellence on everything that we do. We strive for excellence in everything that we do. We have an attitude of gratitude. Part of that gratitude is the investment that our 10 towns make every year, so that we can provide our students with the best, so they can be their best on that. We act with integrity, so we drilled down on this year's budget, especially a level funding over, from last year, we were about 1.6 million over, and when we got the governor's budget, that's what this is based on, and it's subject to change as it goes through the House and the Senate as well, and we'll make those adjustments as we do. We had to go back, tighten our belts. We knew that our 10 towns wouldn't have an appetite for any increased assessment over the minimum local required contribution, so we drilled it down and we stayed within that minimum required local contribution from our 10 towns. So as we go through, you'll see there's no assessment over that amount on it. And we ask that everybody be kind. So we'll jump right into the budget. As I said, this is the governor's budget. We'll update it if there are any changes to that. Starting right out at the top, Chapter 70 is $14,902,363. Our school choice, we anticipate to be about $350,533. Our assessment minimum contribution for our 10 towns is $12,459,053. We have no assessment over the minimum. Again, this is second year in a row. We're going to use our interest earnings to drive down or add to our general operating budget, and that's $150,000 this year. And we're going to continue to transfer E&D $75,000 into our OPEB account on that. Our total transportation.
Excuse me, Kyle, do
okay.
you know what your unfunded total liability is on that? Cindy, do you know that number?
Say that again?
Your unfunded liability on the OMB.
OPEB.
I don't know, we can get that for you.
I'm just, yeah.
I'll shoot that over at,
Yeah, just
I used
curious.
to know it. Our total operating budget is $27,235,883. Our total transportation cost for FY '27 is $2,169,008. Chapter 71, this figure is 75% funded from the state. They started at 85, and before the governor's budget came out, they brought that back down to 75. So we're not getting any closer to the 100% reimbursement that they always talk about. That's $1,621,678. We don't have an E&D reduction this year. Our assessment to the towns after we put in $100,000 from our transportation reimbursement fund comes down to $447,331. Our debt service, we continue to pay that down. I do know that that goes out until 2044 for debt service. So our principal is $870,000 and our interest is $680,428 for a total of $1,550,428. So our total budget FY '27 for assessment is $30,955,319. We add back in our school choice of $350,533, and that brings it to $31,305,852. Slide 4 is the impact. It shows the FY '27 compared to the FY '26. You can see that the Chapter 70 has gone up $336,557, and the minimum contribution has gone up $845,258. And our total required net school spending goes up $1,181,815. Slide 5 just restates some of the figures. Although the assessments are at the minimum, it's important to note the required minimum contributions each town must contribute has increased collectively by $845,258. Our member town's transportation assessment has decreased by $52,670 due to the increase in the regional transportation reimbursement funds, which, the allocation of $100,000 from our reimbursement. Slide 6 just shows the highlights, chapter 70, 14.9. Our school choice is 350, 533. Our chapter 71 busing aid, again at 75%, is $1,621,678. We're using $75,000 from E&D for our OPEB liability and $150,000 from our interest earnings.
So the interest is earned on what money?
E&D.
Oh, okay, you've got that.
Yep.
What's that number right now? What,
We're at 1.34 million.
okay.
Yeah, that's something that we recently did, is put in interest-bearing accounts. So this is the second year in a row we're able to, contribute the earnings to the operational budget. So again, as I said, level funding from FY '26 would have brought us 1.6 million over. That came down a little bit with the governor's budget to 1.3, and we went department by department. Every single department, we did a qualitative and equitable review of the budget and the staffing patterns, and we held to maintain the highest level of student services and also keep our budget within the minimum local contributions on that. Our health insurance is the most volatile, with the increase of an additional 20% after this year, FY '26. We went in knowing it was 16% increase, 18% increase. We budgeted for that. I think you're all part of the Hampshire group, so you
I
know.
was gonna say, Andrew, this is all
They're
the same
the same
story.
thing.
All the same
Same
story, so,
Okay.
yeah, a month in, they mandated a 20% increase, so that, to the district, that was a $750,000 increase, so we're still trying to close the door on that and pay that down through budget savings this year on that, but we carry that 750 into next year, and as you probably already know too, there's a 13% increase going forward, so that's our biggest contributor to that increase over level funding. We don't anticipate anymore, we should change that. We
Yeah.
know that will be double-digit health insurance increase. We'll continue to use the SOA funds for what they were given to us for training and for our students and programs for our students, training of our staff and program for our students for social emotional issues of our students. And those include bullying, bias, mental health, and more. This budget also takes into account contractual wage increases for all the employees we're currently negotiating this year for collective bargaining agreements, teachers, paras, custodians, and our Secretaries Association.
Will those all always hit at the same cycle? They're not separated out?
They are separated out. The paras carried over from last year. Theirs expired, so that'll be a retro. Teachers ends at the end of this year, as do the secretaries and the custodians.
So 3 of them always are on the same cycle?
3, yep. Our Unit M administrators and our paras are off cycle of that, so.
It's just, if you have 3 that need increases at this, or negotiate increases at the same time, it's harder to absorb than if you separated them out.
There's a movement across the state by the MTA to bring all of them into alignment.
So then the hit will happen all at the same time?
But right now, our Unit M is offset. The MTA units we have are Unit M, which is our administrators, Unit A, the teachers, the largest CBA that we have, in our paras. And all 3 of those were offset, but the carryover from our paras last year. Slide 9, our freshman seat allocation is based on the pupil age student population in each one of our 10 towns, which comes out to 16,485. And then you can see that Charlton's 1,915 students is 11.62%. We take those percentages, 11.62 times the 330 seats we have available, and that equates to 38 slots for incoming freshmen in 2027 for Charlton. Hmm? No, Charlton has 16,000, 19,000, sorry.
1,900.
1,900, yeah, 1,900 students, sorry.
That's a total for all 10 towns.
All 10 towns, yeah.
Those
That's
are
a
all
school.
who's eligible.
School, yeah, school-age children, so every child in each one of the 10 towns from K to 12. Yep, sorry.
Can I ask you a question? Because I've been asked this question. So say, I don't pick a town,
Mhm.
Paxton doesn't have 12 students that come in this coming year, maybe they do, but if they didn't, what would happen to those open spots? How would you allocate them across the other towns?
Yep, so we have to wait till a certain date, I believe that's April 1st, and then any unused seat is reallocated based on these ratios.
So based on saying that Auburn has the highest number of students that are eligible and so, or school-age students, I think you said?
Yep.
And so then Auburn would get first choice?
Well, I think. what
It
we're
would be,
saying-
so yeah, we do it that way, and you know there's no fraction of a student, so the rounding there.
So does that mean that Auburn always gets them,
It fluctuates. Auburn this year is the highest percentage of 15. Southbridge 14.7, so 15 and 15 on those. But it will fluctuate every year. School age across the state, there was a reduction of 29,000 school age children. So
Okay.
those are going down, but that fluctuates. Unfortunately, they're usually trending down rather than going up in our 10 towns.
And is that standard set by the state? It's not based upon, like, if you looked at how many students based on the town that apply to Bay Path, that never comes into a factor, huh?
It doesn't come into factor. The seats are allocated by the number of school age. That's per our district agreement.
Okay.
When we formed and the towns joined, that was the formula that everybody agreed on.
And is that ever addressed? Is that ever, like, reassessed?
No, we haven't, no, not in my time in 6 years and not to
Right,
any
just so that-
recent historical knowledge, no.
Yeah, following up on, so if you had 20 seats unallocated on April 1st,
Mhm.
towns didn't, so Auburn gets 15% of those 20 seats,
Mhm.
and Charlton gets 11% of
Yes.
those 20 seats? Okay.
Exactly, yep, so we reallocate those seats.
By the same ratio as you did the general population.
Allocated the first
That's-
initial 330.
I don't know, was that where you were, what you were asking?
That was one of the questions, yeah.
Yeah.
But my question about if you ever relook at the agreement that was made when everything was originally decided, the 10 communities would come together, is it your school committee in each of those communities could bring that to you if they wanted to have it reassessed?
Yeah, the school committee would be the avenue to look at that, and then you'd have to get 2/3 vote by the 10 towns
Yeah, okay,
on that.
thank you.
Exactly. And as you may not know or may know, we did our first now annual lottery, admissions lottery, as mandated by the State Board of Education.
Really?
Yes.
If you haven't heard about it, I'm surprised.
We did it at 3 PM on last Friday. And, right, so not every regional vocational school had town allocations. They all have to have an allocation now because of the lottery. So, yeah, one of our neighboring regional vocational schools has to create that allocation now. So anybody who didn't have a town-by-town allocation has to create it under the new standards as mandated by the Board of Education.
So if Charlton is allowed 38 students and 55 apply,
125 applied.
Yeah, I was just gonna say
125?
120 plus applied.
and now that's done by lottery.
Yep,
You put 125 names in a bucket and
we
you pull
put
out 38.
670-something names in the lottery.
And each was assigned
So-
three tickets, if you will, based on attendance, discipline, and applying?
So essentially, 98% of all applicants, so it breaks down that you get a ticket for completing an application. And then if you have less than 27 unexcused absences in a 270-day period, you can get another ticket. And then if you haven't committed a felony as up to your 8th grade on school grounds and been adjudicated of that, you can get another ticket. So 100% of students will get the discipline ticket, because even if they did commit a felony and were adjudicated, we wouldn't know because records are sealed. And the attendance is about 98% of students will get that. So 98% of all students who are in the lottery get 3 chances on that.
Because the 27 days is not your decision, that's a decision made by the state.
It was, before it was 10 days.
Right.
And now the state decided to put it to 27.
27 is a lot of days for students to miss, like.
It is. It is. So, 98% of all students will get that ticket. So we had 670. They all go in an electronic bucket because our applications are electronic. It's all done online. They're all put in there, and on Friday, we drew down that. And it automatically ranks. So in Charlton, the 125 students are ranked based on how their numbers were pulled. And then we go down to, 38, and those are the students who that night received an acceptance letter, and every other student received a wait list letter. But they're ranked. So now if they have 15 days, those that received the acceptance letter, they have 15 days to notify us if they're going to come or not attend PayPath. So let's say 10 students say, thank you, but no thank you, then we take the next 10 students on that list, and they move in.
So no tickets are awarded to a student with a GPA of 3.8?
Nope. This is fair and equitable.
I'd love to see the definition
So-
of fair and equitable in somebody's book.
Right, and and we'll get back to the budget, we're passionate about it. We have 350 businesses and industries in higher ed that sit on our advisory boards, and the vast majority don't support this. The number one thing we ask our business is, what do you look for in an employee? And they say reliability, that's attendance. And then they have to be safe. I mean, every time we talk about safety, I knock wood, 23 trades that put students, inherently in, dangerous situations. CNC machines, Bridgeport machines that can, scalp you, deglove you, maim you, blow torches, carving knives. Students need to be safe. So discipline gives us a strong indicator that they're safe in those environments, on those. So a lot of people ask, and the school committee asks, why are we going to give a ticket for attendance and discipline if they're moot points? We want to set the tone as soon as they come in or are familiarized with BayPath that we value attendance, we value discipline, and, our core values of integrity and striving for excellence. So we want to drive that home as soon as a student is familiar with us. So, yeah, we got a lot of feedback on that. There's not much we can do. I encourage people to reach out to their school committee members or DESE or the Board of Education.
The other thing that I understood was that, 670 kids. Last year it was 900 and something, is that accurate?
We were about 150 applicants lower this year.
Okay, any indication of why?
I have no indication as to why. Maybe the lottery had that impact.
Okay, I just wondered if that could play into some conversation with DESE, if that really was why.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but we kept track of that, and
Yeah.
we're about 150 fewer than last year in terms of applications.
And if I remember correctly, because I think I asked you last year, there's no ability to expand on the property so that you could expand the number of students.
There is.
Wait a minute, but they just built a $56 million addition and upgrade.
So there is an opportunity on the property to expand, it's cost prohibitive. We are looking at unique situations. There was a grant that came out, expansion grant, CTE expansion grant, that the round of funding came out last year. We looked into it off-site because that's cheaper if there's a structure and it's already there. The grant is a 2-year grant, and the required work that was needed, we wouldn't be able to get it done with the money. So it was up to $5 million, only 30% of that could be used for capital improvement of the building. It just wasn't gonna work.
Okay.
So our partner and the school decided, let's not go for it this year. But yeah, we're hoping that comes out next year and we can sharpen our pencils or look at other avenues and expand that way. That would be the best way to do it. To build a new structure at the school is cost prohibitive. You heard some of the costs for a roof of $1 million and this and that. But if there's an existing structure that we can do, and we've worked closely and we toured a lot of our colleagues in the regional schools who have done this successfully.
Another question for you. So since you have partners that you work with for your students go out to co-ops and such, are any of them, is it legal for them to put money forth to build out, to have more capacity for these trades? If they could educate students, if you could educate students in the fields that they need students, or workers, employees eventually, is it something that they are legally allowed to pay into?
So I think, if I understand what you're saying, is expand co-op, because that's work-based learning. So they go to a company.
No,
So-
I mean, can those companies pay to help build a structure?
Can they donate?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, we take donations.
But I
every
mean
day.
that for real, if there
Yep.
is a trade deficit for employees,
Yep.
is there ways that they could put capital
Absolutely.
improvements into?
And that was part of
schools?
the partnership that we were looking at. I'm not at liberty to say who we were partnering with, but they had a direct connection to 3 of the trades that we had. So
Okay.
the expansion would benefit.
Yeah.
And it would make co-op easier, and there's a win-win.
Okay.
Any donation that we look for, somebody can write a check, but if they're vested, they're in it forever, because the money's only as good as till it's gone. But those partnerships last forever.
Sure, and if we hear that the trades are really in dire need of employees,
Mm-hmm.
I was just trying to think outside of the box of where funding could come from.
We're welcome to any suggestions. We throw a lot of stuff at the wall and
Sure.
see what sticks. And that's where we came up with the POSE grant that we were looking for.
Okay.
To do it off-site and work with that.
Thank you.
Just fell a little bit short.
Thank you.
Foundation enrollment is a total number of students that are enrolled at the school from each town. So we have 1,237 students enrolled, anticipated for FY '27. That's one additional student over FY '26. We're always a year behind on this because those are the October 1 SIMS calculations. So here, Charlton, we anticipated 169, and FY '26, we had 182. So that's a reduction of 13 students overall. The statement of assessments shows all our 10 towns and all the different categories. So the minimum contributions, Charlton's is, and this is much clearer on the next one, but you can see it here. Charlton is $2,382,015. No assessment above the minimum. The foundation enrollment is 169, which comes out to 13.66%. Transportation assessment of the 447,000 for Charlton is 61,115. You can see the total school-age children population for Charlton of 1,915. That's 11.62% of the total 16,485 in our catchment area. So that equates to $180,107 of the debt service of $1.55 million. For a total assessment for the town of Charlton of $2,623,237.
Before you go past that,
Yep.
if you don't mind, we don't have the highest number of students in the foundation enrollment,
Mhm.
and we don't have the highest ratio of students that have the ability to be accepted, but we have the highest assessment.
It's based on, some of it's based on
That's-
economics of the town as well.
Yeah, what we don't show is revenue, municipal revenue growth factor. So the state calculates your minimum contribution, and that's based on the, a lot of different things. So that, typically, that's the municipal revenue growth factor on that.
So because we've had
Because we're successful.
Because we've had
we
commercial
pay.
growth, we pay more, but our students don't have the opportunities that other communities have.
The state calculates essentially your ability to pay for education and sets that number versus what the actual proportionate
yeah.
amount of that is. We have the same issue with our proportionate share between Dudley and us with the regional school assessment as well.
But I think Charlton has more sending students than Dudley does.
We pay
By a
more than-
fraction.
We pay
But
more.
our assessment is significantly more.
Right.
But in this case, we don't even have the benefit of more sending students. And we have, I don't know this answer, are we the community that had the highest number of applicants?
That's irrelevant.
What is it?
Except that means that many of our students want to go to the school.
I believe so. I can look.
Right, but I'm trying to equate that to what our assessment is. and-
Well, our assessment is the highest,
Right,
but we don't get the highest number of students that get to go.
right, but that's
Yeah.
because those two numbers
They're
don't.
not, right, it's not apples
They-
to
they
apples,
don't-
because
It's not.
that's, it's based on school-age kids versus,
I understand what
Yeah.
it's based on, I don't know that I think it is
Some of the,
a fair
no,
process.
yeah, Charlton has the highest number of applicants. But it's
Yeah.
also in
You're
the same
taking-
town.
You're taking all
Right.
the BS and politics and everything out of it and just being like real world situation. We pay the most, we
We don't have
anything.
that benefit.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. But it doesn't matter because it's set up by the state and
So, but, right?
Well, parts of it is set up by the state, but parts of it is set up with our 10-town agreement.
Right.
So that's where I'm saying we
Okay.
might have the ability to have some
Okay.
impact.
well, I mean, I think that
Yeah,
they're two different
so-
things. I think that the foundation enrollment is from the state. It's the numbers that are sent October 1st. So that's got nothing to do with, I mean, that's just school-age children, based on enrollment and where that foundation enrollment comes from. And then the assessment is based on factors, again, it's all formula-driven, based on factors of economics. I mean, I'm gonna venture to say that Amazon coming to Charlton has increased things, you know what I mean? So it's based on in those factors as well, so not necessarily the 10-town agreement. It's more about, the state determining the numbers of school-age children.
So I guess the reason I said that is based on the 38 students that are now eligible this year to be accepted into Bay Path. And so I'm saying that number of the percentage being based on the students who are school age by the community. I thought Mr. Brenner said that was based upon the 10-town agreement from way back when it was originally put in effect.
I see you.
And I'm saying if I don't know that I could argue that we are being assessed the most if we had the highest number of students being able to be accepted, but we don't by a decent amount. And so I'm just trying to think that there are 125 families in this community that we're looking to have students go to Bay Path. That says a lot about you. That says a lot about the value you bring to this community. But because of an agreement that was put in place many, many years ago, we don't have that same benefit, so.
I guess one thing to keep in mind too is
I
if
agree.
there were more seats allocated to Charlton residents, that minimum contribution number would go up because it would actually take away from the amount that you're minimally required to contribute to the Dudley Charlton Regional School District. So you'd actually see that number inflate if, you couldn't necessarily tie the two because they're tied together with the minimum contribution.
explain that again, Andrew? I didn't.
So if you were to say, because we pay more for the minimum contribution, we should be allowed more seats
At Bay Path.
at Bay Path. If you allowed more seats, that would then further drive your minimum contribution number up
At Bay Path?
at Bay Path.
I guess we need a lesson on how that
Because
how
part of
that
it is based on the
calculation
ratio,
works.
you're saying.
Right,
And so
exactly.
because it's based on the ratio, and if the ratio now went to 20% Charlton students, or that would drive a percentage increase as well.
Right.
Again, I'm gonna say our students would be served.
Mm.
Our school-age children, maybe students isn't the right word there, school-age children would be served.
But at the same time, wouldn't then our allocation go up?
Your allocation is gonna go up.
Right.
With more students means more money.
Right, so whatever the ratio is.
No, that's what he's
between-
saying, Yeah,
right.
that's what Andrew was saying, yeah.
Whatever, yeah.
I follow what you're saying. I don't know that I could argue with it if our students were benefiting from it. Like, if we're paying more because our students receive the benefit, then we're paying more because our students receive the benefit. But right now, we're paying more, and we have a lot of families that didn't receive that benefit.
We're also
But the
talking-
allocation of seats is based on school-age children. So that's school-age children, so that's equitable across all our 10 towns. It's the number of students,
I know,
school-age children in each community on it, of which Charlton is ranked in the top, at least 3 for number of school-age children. So the allocation of seats is given based on the numbers. So if school-age children in Charlton numbers are declining, then it's gonna go down. If the increases, you get more seats on those. Part of the reason I believe, 125 applicants are, Shepherd Hill is located in Dudley, it's outside of the town. We're located in the town, it's a much shorter bus ride. I'm not gonna take anything away from Shepherd Hill, but we offer outstanding education and opportunities for all our students. That's why we get over twice as many applicants from all of our towns as we do. But part of that 125 is, it's located right here in town. And it's much shorter commute, and it's.
I wonder if we had, like, if we actually polled families and they would support that concept. Because maybe that is maybe that is true, but maybe it's that there are students that really want those trades.
Oh,
And so,
definitely.
I mean, I think that that's all something to at least be talked about. Maybe not here, I don't know, sorry to derail us, but I do
No, but
think,
that's-
I do
but
think
that's
this is
all-
all funding
but-
related, and
Yep.
I mean,
But that all
think it's
comes
not a
up
bad
in
idea
the
to- yeah.
admissions talk about the best, most fair and equitable way, because we do know that as the regional schools across the state outpace the comprehensive schools of their sending communities, students are going for better opportunities, not necessarily trades. Higher graduation rates, lower discipline, higher attendance rates. And trades, we have students coming like, I don't know what trade I want, because I just know I want to go to Bay Path, not necessarily get a trade for the academic and the opportunities. The opportunities go far beyond academics, and we engage the students and we teach them responsibility. They have the opportunity with the co-op to learn and earn at the same time. But there's, as we increase our academic rigor and we started outpacing, we've gotten a lot more individuals who come just for that as well. So that all came up with, the admissions, why are students going. Part of it is you're not doing your mission because you have kids going to college, and it's a trade school, they should go to the trades. And it's like, we don't tell students what they have to do, we just give them the tools. So if they want to go to college, they have the skills. They don't say, I don't have the skills because my academics weren't rigorous enough. They choose. We're measured on 3 standards for placement at the time of graduation, 1 year out, because of Perkins. And those successful placements are, they're going on to higher education in the fields for which they study, which a number of jobs, even entry level, require credentials beyond a high school diploma. Or they're going directly into the field of work and working in a career, or they're joining one of the military branches on those. So,
that doesn't even
We have
account for the people, the children that are going through a trade and then going to school for a business degree so that they can run their own company in that trade.
And
And so
that's-
it feels like that should be a 4th tier in what you're evaluating, because
Mm-hmm.
you're missing an entire population of students that are putting themselves first in their trade, but in a business mindset.
we miss it because those are the 3 boxes. We don't capture the students that have taken a job full-time, and many students do that in their field, and they're going to school on the educational reimbursements of their town, of their company that they're working for. But they check, I'm going to college because that's the push now, college. So they check college, they're not checking career, but it's both.
Yeah.
You know, a number of our students.
Cut this short.
I know, I know.
We got a
I-
time
Oh, it's
limit here.
interesting.
Yep.
Fair, it's just important.
It's interesting.
Yes.
And there's
but
a lot of
we can
families
bring it
impacted.
back up. We
Yeah.
can bring it back up, but I've got 10 more minutes left.
Yeah.
So
So,
let's see how I get finished here.
the slide 13 just breaks out Charlton loan, so you can see FY '26 and FY '27. There's a $73,244 increase over FY '26 for the town of Charlton, which equates to a 2.87%. We answered a lot of questions, but if you have more, I'd be happy to
My
answer.
apologies.
I think,
Nope.
we're out of it.
It's
I'm
a
not
hot
gonna
topic.
change, but I'll apologize.
No, I've got no questions. You did a great job of presenting. Thank you, Cindy, for
Of course.
accurate numbers. Thank you, Kyle.
You're
See you soon.
welcome. Thank you. It's good to see you.
Hopefully, we'll see you before golf.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, thanks, Don.
Thank you.
All right, good night. All right, Andrew, you got 10 minutes to explain to us this packet you just said, so when we go through it at home, we'll know what the highlights are supposed to be?
So, I threw this together, it's still in development, this is just kind of like a first draft, operating budget. I still have to add in the capital plan, I still have to kind of refine the numbers with Ashley when she gets back. But really just try to kind of consolidate everything into kind of like what's gonna end up on the website, what's gonna be kind of the final presentation backup document, for kind of people to poke through and get a better understanding as far as kind of like the budgetary process, our projections moving forward, and kind of like the outline. So really just kind of threw together a budget narrative to kind of give everybody a premiere as to the recommended budget that's gonna be presented. Just some general information on debt service revenues, tax levy, new growth, state aid, reserves, some property tax information, and then just into the proposed operating budgets between the revenues and expenditures. We're gonna expand upon this a little bit and add in forecasting model, our forecasting models for the next few years, and the capital outlay budget, and try to come up with a complete comprehensive document, but we're trying to pull this together.
But this doesn't include your or Ashley's ideas for what the final should look like. These are just raw numbers.
So I should add, we've added in some current recommendations in these draft numbers. So these are subject to change on the next, between now and the next meeting, when we kind of sit down and really refine and be able to sit down with the department heads and be able to
Because I
express
want to
to
use
us.
as an example, I think there were, 7 requests for additional people?
Right, and we want to add in a narrative for that too, to outline the requests, the potential budgetary impacts for each of those
Okay,
requests.
that's all I
Right.
needed to know.
It's gonna end up in here. I didn't have enough time to
Yeah,
put it in
yeah.
advance, but we want to be able to outline, these are what the requests, this is what's been funded, this is what's not being recommended at this time
Yeah.
for long-term sustainability. But as you can see, if you kind of drive down on some of the numbers, and again, I do have to number these pages so that way I can say, but at the end of the colorful table, where we currently sit, if we took all of the recommended budgets, we would still end up with a variance in the positive of $1.1 million. This difficulty that we have to try to, think of, because typically when you look at the bottom of this, we're budgeting down to 0. That's been kind of years past, but we've really put ourselves in a healthy position currently. But if we put, too much into that operating budget that are reoccurring costs of personnel year over year, that variance can disappear like that. You have to make sure that new growth that's coming in is actually matching what your operation or your annual operating budgets are. And if we're looking back,
you know, at the end of last year, you know, we were conservative with our new growth estimates, and very much so. You know, where we had projected, I believe it was $800,000 to start, and ended up at almost $5.5 million in new growth. That's not sustainable over time. Almost
Yeah.
$5 million of that was personal property, which depreciates over time. So what is, you know, assuming that that personal property is not gonna come back year over year, or even what we've seen for the last 5 years comes back year over year, what is the status quo look like moving forward? So looking back pre-2020, you know, you were in that range between $200,000 and $400,000 in new growth. So we're using a starting point of 225,000 this year in our new growth projection. On top of the 2.5% increase, you're talking $1.3 million in new revenues going into next year. Well, that doesn't even cover the school's increase. So we have to start thinking about being conservative, even though we're in a good spot, to maintain long-term sustainability. You know, the average school increase year over year for education has been 8% on 50% of our budget. And that's been tied to our revenue growth factor. And that's over a 3-year average. So when those numbers do tank down to whatever their level is gonna be, it's gonna be a 3-year look back on these good times of what the state says that we can afford for education. So the numbers look good now. I just want to put the caution out there. In a few years, it could turn around drastically if we don't look conservatively.
Yeah.
But your 8% that you're talking about still is not even level funded for the schools. They have been taking hits every single year
Right.
to make that. And when we look through this proposal, and there's 7 new positions within the municipality completely, and the schools are still taking hits. I just it's easy to say the school has so much money coming at us, but it's still at a loss for the school.
Right.
And the municipality is still trying to grow in in 7 other areas.
They're requesting.
Right, but I mean, departments are bringing that forward, and the school's not bringing forward growth. The school's trying to remain level funded. So.
Right.
Well, aren't the schools, though, are basically both saying, here's our minimum, okay? And we're budgeting within the minimum, okay? So
Well-
I don't look at it as like we're cutting anything.
In order for them to maintain everything that they have when they start their budget process, it's at least $1 million just in contractual obligations. That means they have not added a position at all,
Right.
but they start $1 million higher than they did last year. And that was probably 3 years ago, so that number might be different now. And so I'm saying the school is not trying to grow any employees. They're trying to just maintain where they are currently at. But we have 7 departments that believe that they need an increase in staffing. And so I'm saying the school's level funding for their staffing levels. And there's other departments that are trying to grow or believe they need to grow to support the municipality. I just think that comes into play with the conversation. It's easy to say, look at what the schools are asking for.
But, you know, I should note on the other side, the school's budgetary increase is, let's say, 3%. 3% increase, which translates over to 8%, which is primarily being driven by these net school assessments that the state is saying that we can afford, plus the fact that the state's contribution toward education and municipal government aid is not keeping pace.
And regional transportation never comes in where they say it's going to.
Right. So it's just,
I mean,
it is a
can you say
difficult
this is a
calculus.
perfect example of being punished for your success? It probably is.
Well, it sounded like that from what Mr. Brenner just
No, but
said.
it is, you know, and the Bay Path budget, there was no money above minimum, right? That's how we broke it out, right? And let's say he needed an extra $1 million to use that, okay? That would be then, under that other line item, above minimum net,
Right,
right?
right.
Which
Same
that would
thing
be,
with
which
Shep-
that would
with
be
W. Charlton.
contributed out to the districts by the percentages that are outlined in there. It's similar to our agreement with Dudley Charlton, where we are responsible for at least the minimum net contribution. Anything, any budget that's approved beyond that is then split out by the student enrollment. So even, it may be a 48, 52% split, so it's almost 50-50 for anything above that minimum net school spending. But the minimum net school spending accounts for about 75% of the actual school's budget.
I got you. All right, I did say 8:15. I know you gotta go. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a
Because
motion.
we can wait on minutes and I was gonna talk about the fire department because I got questions there, but we'll do that at the next minute, next meeting. And then I hope the rest of us have time to actually get this, all right?
I'll provide a
Second.
revised copy after I have a chance to sit down.
And so we'll do that. Our next meeting is the 25th, all right? That's where we're gonna go back through all of this and say, all right, here we go.
All right, I seconded.
I motioned. She seconded.
All in favor? Brian, Ray,
Yeah,
you approve?
can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, I'm entertaining a motion to adjourn. All those in
Yes.
favor say yes?
Yes.
Second.
Yes.
Yes, okay. It is,
Andrew, will that report be in the Dropbox?
I will put it in the Dropbox. Let me refine it, and I will get you the more complete version. This is just a draft, but I will get that over to you.
Awesome, thank you.
All right.
Yeah, because I want to start reading it.
okay, so I've got a unanimous vote to adjourn. Thank you very much. We'll see you on the 25th.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.